on everyone. So the Lakers had themselves quite the offseason, and there's no doubt about it. They definitely were able to have the success of keeping the core players, the important players that they wanted, that they got post trade deadline, and even the guys that blossomed, such as Austin Reeves. They were able to keep those guys and keep that core intact for that continuity, for that chemistry going into this season. They were also able to upgrade in several areas, right? Getting guys like Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish. These were all really big quality acquisitions. They kept the youth, they got the size, they got the perimeter defense, they got the versatility, they got everything you could want. And you look at this Lakers roster, you're like, man, this roster is stacked, this roster is deep, they got the stars, they got the two, other guys, three other guys, I guess, and like the core guys and Rui, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell that could just go get buckets and do multiple things on the court, such as play make and defend and do all kinds of stuff, right, for the Lakers. It's not all going to have to be on the shoulders of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like, I even think this team is good enough and deep enough to where if LeBron and AD missed a game, maybe not against like Boston or Milwaukee or something like that, but like say Detroit or whatever, I actually think the Lakers could win a couple games without those two guys. Now, obviously I don't want that to happen, but I think if like in a pinch, it's like, hey, LeBron and AD are kind of dealing with some nagging stuff. We're 7 games over 500. Let's give them a little break and, let's run with the other guys. I could see them winning a game, right? But they did a poll recently and talked about like, hey, how do you gauge the Lakers' success? Like, did the Lakers win the offseason? And it was anonymously or unanimously, yes, right? It was A, B's, Lakers killed it, knocked it out of the park, home run, they're ready. And you look at it again, and it's like, they did. Like, they absolutely killed this thing. And they're going to be a very good team. There's not very many teams in the league that I think match up well against the Lakers. They're going to be a top 5 team in the entire league, right? Like, you think of the teams that have an opportunity to really give the Lakers a run for their money. It's like, all right, you have obviously Denver, you got Milwaukee, you got Boston, and then maybe the Phoenix Suns, depending on where they land, right? Are they going to be able to really kind of get over that hump, right, and build that chemistry? Like, they look on paper, it's like, give them the trophy now. But we've seen super teams get put together and they just don't have the success. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But the Lakers, again, are going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the entire NBA. And the question, though, is did they undoubtedly, definitively win the NBA offseason? Now, they had an incredible NBA draft, right? In my opinion, for where they were as far as position goes, the type of talent they were able to get, and then even the undrafted guys they were able to get, all that stuff. Like, when you put it all together as a package, they had themselves a really solid draft. Now, obviously, the Spurs got like Victor Wembanyama, Blazers got Scoot Henderson, so the teams that got like the franchise guys, you got to give them that. But then you go into the regular season or into the postseason with free agency and all that stuff, right? And you look at, okay, all these other teams in the league, who really got better? Who really made the moves that can change the entirety of the league? Obviously, again, Phoenix Suns, right? They went and got Kevin Durant, trade deadline area, and then this year they turned Chris Paul into Bradley Beal, right? And to be fair, they did round out the roster pretty nicely. I still am not sold on their depth, and I still think that they are incredibly top-heavy, but they could always flip DeAndre Ayton if need be. If that's something that has to happen, he's a tradable asset. And then they were able to round out the roster better than I thought they would, right? So that's good. But overall, it's like outside of them and their question marks, because again, how does it work? Bradley Beal's going to be the starting point guard. Is he going to be able to do that? He's always been able to make plays. He's averaged like 5 assists a game for his career and stuff. But it's different when you're the guy and you're the shooting guard and you have the ball in your hands and you could go get your 30 and just kind of dish out here and there when you feel like it, or if like the defense is collapsed or something. It's another thing to where you're responsible solely to set everybody up, to make sure Kevin Durant eats, to make sure Devin Booker eats, to make sure DeAndre Ayton eats. Right? Does that look bad? Does this start looking clunky? Do they just not really mesh the way that you think that they will on paper? We'll see. But at least on paper, it looks like, okay, they had a very successful offseason. I don't think Bradley Beal is enough to put them over the top of what the Lakers did, right? But I do think that they are one of the winners of the offseason. But beyond the Phoenix Suns, it's like, well, who else is there, right? Like, the Warriors, I don't think, got better. They traded Jordan Poole, and they got Chris Paul. Chris Paul will add some more leadership. He'll add some more stability, right? Things like that. But I don't think he solves any of their real needs. And I don't think that his upside is anywhere close to Jordan Poole's, right? Like, Jordan Poole is a guy that legitimately can go off for 30 plus any given night. Chris Paul, he's not that guy. He's not going to go and get you 30 plus. And how does that work? Is he going to be okay being off the bench? Is he going to close for the Warriors? If so, the Warriors are incredibly small. I'm just not sold on it, right? So then who else, right? You look at like teams like Boston, right? Boston went and, they got Kristaps Porzingis. But he's already dealing with injuries, and he's an injury-prone guy. Secondly, I don't think he fixes any of the Celtics' problems. The Celtics' problem isn't scoring. It isn't even defense. Last year, they were the only team in the league that were top 5 offense, top 5 defense. Their issue is mental toughness, and their stars showing up. Jason Tatum showing up, right? Like, and if anything, they were probably better off trading for Chris Paul. Because at least they would have had a guy that could facilitate, and it's not so much just you go, I go, a lot of ISO heavy basketball. Like, at least Chris Paul would have kept things in order for them, right? And it's just like, I think the loss of Marcus Smart is going to be drastic for them. Because he was their one mental tough guy. He was kind of their leader and voice in the locker room. Like, he was a lot for that team. He was their defensive anchor. He was a lot of things for that team. And they got rid of him for Kristaps Porzingis. That's none of those things. He's not a leader. He's a great offensive player. He's a solid defensive player, but he's it's just, I'm not sold on them. And then you factor in the Lakers go and they extend Anthony Davis already. Not only is that great for the long term, because now you have Anthony Davis for the next 5 years, but it's also good because you remove the stigma that could go around the Lakers and just that dark cloud and all the media and all the noise that is unnecessary, right? The Lakers don't extend Anthony Davis, right? It's like, are the Lakers, are they going to move off of AD? Are they going to trade him? Does Anthony Davis still want to be a Laker? How come an extension hasn't gotten done? You just get all of the noise, all of the nonsense for no reason. Well, none of that's here. It's all gone. You don't have any noise. Everybody is locked in. Everyone is good. Everyone is fine. The only question that could come up is like, will LeBron stay after this year or will he opt out? All right. If the Lakers are good, that won't be a conversation. Lakers are one of the best teams in the league. That won't be a conversation. Because LeBron's not going to leave a team that he believes he can win a championship with. Right? I know he wants to go play with his son and stuff like that. He can do that after he wins another championship or two. So the Lakers did everything that they needed to do this offseason, and then some. I mean, they surprisingly did well. So the idea that they won this offseason, I full-heartedly believe that they did. And I absolutely believe that they deserve the love and the accolades. And look, I talked about it like after the Lakers signed everybody. Did they just win the offseason and all that stuff? But, now that we've had time to kind of take the moves in and allow the dust to settle. And the Lakers also, on top of everything, still have 2 open roster spots and very likely could land Christian Wood, which, however you feel about the Lakers landing Christian Wood, that's still a 17-7 guy that is a legit 3-level scorer for a big man. That's very good, right? There's very few guys like that in this league. And That I just think would take them over the top. Rob Pelinka did his thing. He absolutely cooked. He deserves his flowers. The guy just, he's proven time and time again. And it's why I was so defensive of him prior to the trade deadline last year. So many people were calling for his head and his job and all that stuff. And I was just like, dude, the guy has done fine. His one blemish is like the Russ trade. And that wasn't even his. That was LeBron James and Anthony Davis going to Jeannie Buss and saying, make Rob do this. And so Rob has no, what is he supposed to do? Tell his boss no? Right? No, he goes and does it. He had deals lined up. He was getting Buddy Hield. DeMar DeRozan himself said he thought he was going to Lakers and it was a done deal. Right? The Lakers had other moves. Rob Pelinka had other moves, but they wanted Russell Westbrook. LeBron wanted to play off the ball more. He didn't want to have to be on the ball so much and all that stuff, right? Okay, so he went and did it. Didn't work out. We heard all the noise about Russ is untradeable. The Lakers are stuck. They're never going to do this. They're never going to do that. Worked out pretty good. They were able to get some really solid pieces. They were able to make it to the conference finals. And he continued where he left off and just really rounded out this roster nicely. Put together a solid core so far. Did a knockout job in the draft and this free agency. And I really do believe he deserves his flowers. He deserves his respect. And I think that, he did. He did a great job. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you grade now that we've had some time to kind of sit back and simmer and all that stuff? What is your grade for the Lakers this offseason? Do you think that they are an A? Do you think B, C, somewhere in between? Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.